Welcome back to Jackson Square. Today we're looking at T6.4H, which says, I can convert units within a measurement system, including the use of proportions and unit rate. So when we're converting, we're going to be using our star chart so much. So make sure you have your interactive notebook open so that you can reference your star chart for your conversion factors. And I'm going to find my star chart and have it available as well. So when you convert a measurement, you change the measurement given in one unit to an equivalent measurement using a larger or smaller unit. Equivalent ratios can be used to convert measurements. So we're going to be using a larger or smaller unit to help us create an equivalent ratio and convert these measurements. So here's an example. If there are 12 inches in 1 foot, how many inches are equivalent to 5 feet? So 12 inches in 1 foot. We're going to use the same thing we've been using. How could I go from 1 foot to 5? Multiply by 5. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do the same to the top. 12 times 5 will give me 60. Okay? So if I was converting inches to feet, if I had 5 feet and I want to know how many inches, this would be the conversion factor I would use. I could find that on my star chart. Okay? So let's just go over how to use your star chart real quick. Okay, so here's my star chart. You see at the top, they have length, they have a volume section, a weight section, and a time section. You always look for whatever you're converting. So we were converting inches and feet, right? So inches and feet, here's a foot, here's inches. This would be the conversion factor I'm using. Okay, sometimes we'll use more than one. Later on, we're going to be going from miles to feet. Well, I would have to go from miles to yards and then yards to feet. So sometimes you'll use more than one conversion factor to get to your final answer. So just take a look and become familiar with how to locate and find your measurements and sometimes where you'll be going. Sometimes we'll go from quarts to pints and then from pints to cups. Okay? Make sure you take notice that there are 8 fluid ounces and then there's 16 ounces. So they have different kinds of ounces. Fluid ounces is like water, and then 16 ounces, that's like weight, mass. It's a different thing. Like I'm talking pounds, 16 ounces comes from pounds on your body, or if I'm talking fluid ounces, that's liquid, there's barely like a sip in this cup. Yeah, but that's it. So there was like a couple of fluid, some maybe ounces. Okay, they're gone. So let's go on with our notes. On with the show. Okay. So when using ratios to convert measurements, it is important to compare like units. You want to compare things that are alike and to keep the units for the same measurement together. Let's stay together. You want to keep them together. So here are 2 examples of how we could compare our units of inches and feet. So here, the way this is set up is this is a H chart, right? We've been using H charts. So what they're saying, keeping them together, is if I put inches on top, then I need to have inches all the way across. If I put feet on top, feet all the way across. Same thing here. If I decide to put feet on top and inches on the bottom, just make sure whatever you put on top, you keep it consistent and it stays on top. You don't want to put inches on top and feet on the bottom, and then on the other side put feet and then inches. You want to keep it consistent, okay? So keep it together. You want to keep those like units together. Inches, feet, inches. So there are three ways I'm going to model how to solve conversions. Okay, so there are three different ways we can solve them, and then I'm going to show you a special type of conversion that we'll be looking at in solving as well. So example one, it says complete the table to convert feet into yards. Our strategy is going to be using a ratio as a conversion factor. So you'll hear me say conversion factors lots and lots of times, okay? So we're going to use a ratio as a conversion factor. So they gave us a ratio of 3 feet to 1 yard. And this is a ratio table. Okay, so 3 feet to 1 yard. How could you do this? So there are several ways that I could do this. We could just multiply down. We could skip count. There are all these relationships because it is a ratio table. So I could go from 1 to 12 by multiplying by 12. So then 3 times 12 will give me 36. Or I could show you how to do the conversion with a conversion factor. So we're going to use a conversion factor. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to do a little H chart, feet to yards. If there are 3 feet and there's 1 yard, what if I have 12 yards? How many feet would that be? And again, I'm going to be doing the same thing in this little H chart that I would do if I was just going down. Times 12, 3 would be times 12 to get 36. So here, that becomes 36. If we want to extend this out, we could. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend it instead of making all these separate little problems to get from 1 to 15. And I apologize because I'm going to have all these loops going on. So you could make you can make 3 separate H charts if you like. I'm just trying to save space in this little box. This will be times 15. So then I would do 3 times 15 at the top to get this answer. 3 times 15 will give me 45. So this will become 45. And for the last one, I'll make a new H chart just so it's not horribly messy. If I have 3 feet and 1 yard, how many feet is that if I have 20? Okay, so 1 to 20, I don't know why I skipped that space, that's weird. That's 20, and then 3 times 20 would give me 60, okay? So the last thing would be 60. So this is showing using a ratio as a conversion factor. So the ratio was 3 to 1, okay? The ratio was 3 to 1. So I could extend that in, this creates a ratio table. And I just use that in the knowledge that we've done before. If I know this times this will give me that, multiply the top times whatever I did times the bottom to get my answer. So we filled in our chart, okay? Another strategy we can use is to use a tape diagram or strip diagram to model. So here it says, Stephanie made 8 cups of soup. How many pints of soup did she make? So I need to go to my chart and find pints and cups. And if you look on your star chart, you will see that 1 pint equals 2 cups. Okay? So how am I going to use this tape diagram to model? It says she made 8 cups of soup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each one of these boxes represents a cup of soup that Stephanie made. It tells me that 2 cups will make a pint, and I'm looking for how many pints. So 2 cups will make a pint. So I think if I combine these 2 cups together, that will make 1 pint. If I combine these cups, that makes a pint. These cups, that's a pint, and these cups, is a pint. Okay? So let's label. This would be cups, and then the bottom is pints. Just wanted to kind of clean that up and it make it look like ones. So the question was, how many pints of soup did she make? So 8 cups. Every 2 cups equals 1 pint. So how many pints did she make? Stephanie made 4 pints of soup. Okay, 4 pints of soup. So you can use a tape diagram to solve your conversion problem. And then last, we can use a ratio as a conversion factor. Again, this is just showing you without a table how it would look. A case containing bags of rice has a mass of 14,000 grams. What is the mass of the case in kilograms? Okay, so again, star chart, grams to kilograms. It's under weight and mass. 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. And I'm going to set this up as an H chart. So I'm looking for my answer in kilograms. So typically what I do is what I'm looking for, I put it on top. So I want to go from grams to kilograms. So when I put my conversion factor in, I'm going to put kilograms on top. So I'm going to put kilograms on top because I want my answer in kilograms, and I'm going to put grams on the bottom. You can put whatever you want on top. Remember, just keep it consistent. I just like to put what I'm looking for on the top. So then that means for 1 kilogram, there's 1,000 grams. Okay. They told us we have 14,000 grams. So we're looking for, what is that in kilograms, right? So what times 1,000 will give me 14,000? Hopefully you said 14. So whatever I multiply the bottom by, I do the same to the top. 1 times 14 will give me 14. So what is the mass of the case in kilograms? It will be 14 kilograms. Okay, so we've looked at how to use a ratio table. We've looked at how to use a tape diagram, and we've looked at how to just set up a basic conversion factor. Okay, so this is 3 ways that you can solve conversions. You can mix and match them. You can choose whichever one you find the easiest for you. Now let's look at a type of problem that we're going to be using or solving. Okay, Joe drove 3 miles and 612 feet to the lumber yard. How many feet did Joe drive? So Joe drove 3 miles and 612 feet to the lumber yard. How many feet did Joe drive? Okay, so they gave us 1 part in miles and they gave us 1 part in feet. Okay, but we want them all in feet. 1 part in miles and 1 part in feet. So we're going to have to take the 3 miles and convert it to feet. Okay, but when we have a problem like this, you have to remember to add in the 612. Okay, so put a giant plus sign on your paper. So you remember to go back and add that, because if you don't add in the 612, your answer won't be right. So you're going to have to convert 1 part and then you're going to have to add the other part to get the total answer. So I'm going to put a giant plus sign so I go back and remember, hey, I have to add this. It's like alert, alert, pay attention. So I cannot go directly from miles to feet. I have to go from miles to yards and then yards to feet. So this is going to be more than 1 conversion. This is called a double conversion because I'm going to have to convert twice. So my conversion factors or ratios will be 1 mile equals 1,760 yards, and then 1 yard equals 3 feet. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is look at my chart and I like to write down what my conversion factors are so I know what I'm going to be using. Okay, so I'm starting with 3 miles and I need to convert that to feet. So I'm going to go from miles to yards. Remember, I said I like to put what I want on top. So in my first H chart, I'm going to put yards on top and miles on the bottom. So 1,760 will be on top and 1 mile will be on the bottom. So I have 3 miles and I want to convert that to yards. So that's my unknown, okay? That's my unknown. How do I go from 1 to 3? Times 3. So then I have to multiply 1,760 times 3. Okay, so I'm going to do a little side work. And I'm going to get 5,280. Okay. So if I multiply 1,760 times 3, I get 5,280. That is my yards. Okay. That's my yards. So I'm not done. So now I have to convert the yards to feet. So now I need to set up another chart. And I'm going to go from yards to feet. So I want my answer in feet. I'm going to put feet on top, yards on the bottom. My conversion factor says for every 3 feet, it's 1 yard. Okay, so then I'm going to take this yardage, 5,280, and I'm taking this and putting it there. So I'm going to highlight it just so you know what happened. Okay, this number goes there, and then I'm looking for this. How many feet is that? Okay, so how do I go from 1 to 5,280 multiplied by 5,280? Okay, so then I'm going to multiply 3 times the same thing. And you would do some side work. And I will get 15,840 would be the feet. So 3 miles is 15,840 feet. But am I done? No, I'm not. I have to go back and add in the 612. So then I would add 15,840, and then I would add the 612 to it to get the final answer. So your final answer would be 16,452 feet is how many feet Joe drove. Okay, so I had to remember to add those two together. Please remember to just make that big plus sign so you remember to combine those, because if you don't combine them, then your answer will be incorrect. So I hope you enjoy these strategies, and let's go practice. Good luck.